Well, howdy folks. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope everybody's just doing dandy, because I'm tired. It's been a day. Anyway, I kind of want to go over my table I built. You've seen me do the review on the Cobalt 12-inch miter saw. Well, I made a table for it, and this is it, and all of its glory. Actually, it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I didn't film any of doing this, but the top here is, these are all just in sections. That's roughly 24.5 inches and 24 inches. Okay, I think the boxes themselves that I made were 24 by 24. I just overhung it a little bit, yeah. So they're just 24 by 24 boxes. And then the base, don't have you on my tripod, is roughly 32 by, let me get my thing out here. I think it's 32 by 24 because it matches up, yeah, 32 by 25. So what I did is I got on, actually Rockler was having a sale, and I got these on Rockler, but if they're not on sale on Rockler, get them on Amazon, they're cheaper. So what I did is I inset these and made me some stop block extensions, which by the way, when I did that review of the this Cobalt here, one thing I forgot to mention is this screw here, you can loosen this up, and these will extend out quite a bit. They'll probably actually go to right about here. I wasn't even aware of that myself when I did the review on it. Didn't pay no attention to it until I had got this all together. And it's like, oh wow, those things extend out pretty far. Anyway, so what I did is I got these on Rockler too, not a sponsor. And I just took a 1x4, 1x3, I think that's what it was. And I took these rails, put it on the top, and Rockler had these on sale too. And they're just stop blocks, okay? So, you know, if you got a piece of wood and it extends past your arm here, you can put your thing down, put your piece of wood up to it, and then cut repeated cuts the same, you know, length every time. Comes in super handy, and I set it up on both sides to be able to do that. So that works fantastic. The table is centered in here. I put this up on it today because even though it does have a vacuum port in the back, which we'll go back around here in a minute, I mean, this thing throws sawdust, you know, all over the place up and through here. So I'm trying to mitigate how much sawdust I have on the floor, because I've been getting a ton. I'm constantly sweeping and vacuuming and so forth. But anyway, on the back to the stand here, I put a shelf in it. And then underneath it, I've got a magnetic bar that'll hold some of the saw blades. Those will actually, well, one is for my skill saw and the other one is for the table saw, because this one is a 12-inch blade and I don't have another blade for it yet. Okay, so in the back, all I did is I attached a power supply down there, which I can plug in over here. And then I just had some weather stripping lying around, so I put a piece of weather stripping here, door sweep, and that'll keep sawdust from falling into the back of there. So that's that. Now the other slick thing that I like about this is these handy dandy little brackets. I'm setting you on the table saw here. Yeah, I know you're crooked. I'm trying to get you positioned because I need two hands to lower this. But you can grab on to the sides and drop it down. So both sides will do that, so it doesn't take up as much floor space when I need to move this thing to the other side of the room. Say I need to pull the car in here, I need to work on it. Excuse me. Now this table here is going to go in the back, and I will video how to do that and how to put it on, and I'll put a link in the description. for those. These brackets work pretty good, and I was actually thinking about making a stand to go underneath them to keep them from flexing, but I'm going to nix that idea because they actually work out pretty well. And I think those are 20-inch brackets. You can see them right here. You know, it's not, it's definitely a two-person job if you don't cheat like I did. I cheated. I have one of these Harbor Freight lift carts, and I set the shelf on the kitty litter thing and lifted it up, and we get it into the exact position that I needed. So when I raised it up, I had it at the same height as this table saw, and that worked out perfect. So if you don't have that, if you don't have one of those hydraulic tables, then definitely a two-person, or find things to stack them on until you can get the right height. I will say the screws that came with this thing are junk. Just use drywall screws. And you're going to need, it really helps to have a tiny little screwdriver. Let's go over here. Like one of these little Harbor Freight doohickeys. And it'll go straight, or you can angle it down 90. And that works really good for getting in the tight spots underneath there. So that, my friends, is the table saw stand that I made. And like I said, I didn't video it because it's just a box, a 24 by 32 by 25 centerpiece, 24 by 24 box for the side tables here, and some MDF. And honestly, I got one sheet of MDF, and I used 6 2x4s from Lowe's to put all this together, and that was my cost on that. And then the brackets, the swinging brackets there, which you'll need 3 sets of those if you put a table in the back. I'm going to have a table back here in the back because I have a joiner that I still haven't even unboxed. That's another video. And what I'm going to do is I'll be able to lay this down, disconnect my hose, plop this up, park the joiner underneath there, and then when I need it, set it up on this table. So, and this here is nothing fancy. It's just a shield in the back to try to contain some of the sawdust, which it ain't going to contain at all. But between the vacuum and the shield here, that should at least keep it to piling up down into here. And then I got some of these magnets down there, and that's got a magnet on it already. I just stuck it down here, and that way if I'm getting kind of dark and I need to see in here, I can fire it up and I can see my pencil marks better. But so I did that. I got the drawer. I did get the Harbor Freight locking wheels, and they work okay. They're Harbor Freight. They're not the best wheels. I think the ones on Amazon probably be a little bit better. But so that is the table. And I had a bunch of leftover paint from painting one of the bedrooms, dining room, kitchen, I don't freaking know. And I just used that to paint this thing. Now, when I was routing this out, you can see some spots here. Number one, my router, if you do get one of these Bauer routers, make sure there is a screw right there. Make sure you snug that thing up really good, because what had happened is when I was routing it, I accidentally was pushing kind of down on it, and it caused the depth of the router to drop down too far, and man, it did not like that, and it jerked out of there, and it kind of ripped the holes in the sides. But it's a work table, so it is what it is. And the other thing is that is, I forget how deep that was. That router, using a 3/4 inch bit, did not want to cut that hole at that depth right there, which is maybe 3/8 of an inch. It did not like cutting it, so I ended up I had to stop. I put a fence up over here. I just set the depth to a 1/4 inch, made one pass, then lowered it down a little bit more, and then did the rest. So I don't know if yeah, it's just an issue with that, but I didn't use the plunge router, the bigger one. I just used that little one, and apparently it can't handle a 1/4 inch cut depth wide, no, 3/8 inch depth and a 3/4 inch wide bit. So anyway, that's that. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. I did bolt the table down, so that's good to go. I may put an LED light under there if I need it, but I'm really just using it for storage. So we're going to test this here in a minute and see how well. I want to get you onto the tripod here in a minute. We'll hook up the wet and dry. Well, it's already hooked up. We'll turn it on. We'll cut some pieces, and then we'll kind of see, you know, how much sawdust is left. Okay, and if this little shield that I made is doing its trick. And yeah, it's not the it's not the sturdiest of things, but it doesn't do anything. It's just keeping the sawdust from flying so far behind it. If you see that microfiber towel hanging there, see all the sawdust on it? That's kicked up from the back of this thing. So I'm trying to prevent that because I still got my bike parts and stuff in here, and still working on that stuff, and it just gets sawdust everywhere. All right, so now that's that. Now let's go to the table saw. This thing really made a mess. I should have took a picture of before, because this thing just had set on a kind of a stand similar to that over there on the planer. And this thing, I had tried to put a plastic bag underneath it to try to catch some of the sawdust. It was just terrible. I had just piles and piles of sawdust. So I had a bunch of scrap, you know, 2x4s and some 3/8 inch plywood like that. So I just made a little base for it and took it off the stand. I've got a hole cut in the top here, and put me a little tool thing down there for the little grippy things. And then I put that chute that came with the Harbor Freight wet and dry, and I still need to shave this off or put me a knob in there, but I put me a dust collector on there, so now all my dust will go down into here. And as you can see up there, I'm hoping you're seeing it, you know, because I can't see the screen. You know, all that sawdust is going to drop down into here. And yeah, I got to sand that a little bit or whatever, but that's on my to-do list. I'll get that here in a minute. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to catch the sawdust coming off the top of it, you know, but the bulk of it seemed to be dropping down beneath it. So I'm hoping this solves that problem, but we're going to test that here in a minute too. So let's see here. What else did I do to this? Nothing. I added the toolbox. I just made the box. This was actually quite comical. You know, I had this all planned out and had it all measured out and had it all cut and had it all together. And I was sitting there looking at it. It's like, why is this thing so tall? Oh man, that was last night. And it's like, geez. Well, I didn't take into account the height of the table saw itself, which is like 11 3/4 inches from the top here to the bottom. And so I made my stand 36 inches tall. And yeah, so I had to take it apart and then cut it and yeah, put it all back together. Now, another thing I did though, is when I made this, I made it sit just a hair taller. That's about maybe a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch taller than this table here. Because now I can use this as an outfeed table. So if I'm cutting long pieces of wood, you know, like these 8-footers and stuff like that, and I'm ripping them down, I do have my little roller thing right there, but now I can just push this up to that and roll it right across. And so it serves a couple of functions. And I think I locked my wheels on this thing. These Harbor Freight wheels, they don't lock the greatest. So we'll move this back over here. Let the wheel spin around. Alright. There we go. So we're going to test this here in a minute and see my floor. I found out that my floor in here is quite unlevel, but oh well, it is what it is. And then I took that some extra I had and put a new tabletop on that. So hopefully now, with all this in place, I'll have less sawdust everywhere. And the wet and dry works super good on the planer. The other day I planed down 12, I don't know, about 18 boards. And I think I had to empty the wet and dry 3 times. And I'll just dump it into that garbage can back there. And then I got tired of dragging it over to our burn pile in the back, so I just throw it in the tractor. All right, so hold on, let me get you back on the tripod here. I don't want to shake you around all over the place. And we'll do some test cutting, so back here in a sec. All right, well, I got you on the tripod, but I'm just holding you up. So the other reason I put these in here is there's clamps you can buy that fit into this T-channel, T-slot stuff, and you can clamp things down if you're wanting to sand things. These are totally positionable. All I gotta do is I got an Allen wrench, just you loosen this up and you can slide it and actually just take it off. So that makes it pretty versatile. You know, so if you're working on a long piece of wood and you need to clamp it down on that end, you know, and work on it down here, you can clamp it on both ends. So that works out pretty good. All right, so let me show you what exactly I'm talking about. I'm not going to turn the wet and dry on right now. We'll turn that on here in a sec. And you'll see all the sawdust and stuff that I'm talking about. Okay, let's grab a piece of wood here. And let me find where I have set my safety glasses down at. Actually, I had them in my pocket. I went for a walk and had them on still. I wear these things, I just rarely take them off. Okay, so you're looking at right in this area right here, and you'll see what I'm talking about when it comes to the sawdust. We're just going to make a little cut on this. Ah! I've noticed an issue that I didn't count for. Okay, see right here where the hose is going up? Well, now it is hitting, when I go to lower it down, it's hitting this back here. So that is going to have to come off. So in the interim, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the board out to here and we'll make a cut. All right, so I hadn't tested this. You guys are the first one to see it. So obviously I'm just going to have to take this and cut this section. Oh, you can't see my hand. Right here where my hand is. This piece in the back, I'm just going to have to cut it off because that is getting in the way of when I pull this down. But as you can see, yeah, this helps. But you still get a bunch over here. So this thing would really have to extend all the way across here, which I'm not going to mess with. I think if it catches the bulk of it down there, then I'm going to be happy with that. So, and then this is the other thing. Yeah, I showed you that already. Yeah, putting the piece of board there. All right, so that I think is going to work. I know the wet and dry, it does its job just fine, so I don't need to turn that on. But what I do need to do is I need to unplug this, and so we can cut a piece on the table saw. So let me get my hose out of here. And we're gonna hook our hose into the bottom down here. Move my tripod out of the way so I'm not kicking you guys everywhere. And I need to fix that one piece. I just need to sand it a little bit. Okay, and then I need to unplug the table saws and or unplug the miter saw and plug in the table saw. Alright, so we're plugged in. Now I need to get, I'm going to set you guys back here. And we're going to kind of see, actually, yeah, we're pretty good. I think we're positioned well enough so I quit stepping on everything, it's in my way. Alright, so I'm going to have to give me something that we can cut. And I just got some scrap plywood over here. We'll cut that. Alright, so we're looking for dust accumulation around the bottom down here where my foot is showing. I know we're going to get it thrown off the top, but you know, like I said, we can't mitigate all of it, but we're trying to test here. So let's turn on the wet and dry. So time to make some noise. Well, I think that worked fantastic. Let's see how much sawdust we have down here in the bottom. See if the wet and dry is doing its thing. Yeah, a little bit down there, but you know, that's why I put this on hinges. You know, that way I can keep an eye on it and then check it as needed. And I just put a piece of Velcro there to hold the door shut. So that is a huge improvement, more so than the miter saw. So I am pretty stoked with that, and I ain't kidding you guys, I've been cutting up stuff left and right in here, and I'm just making a holy hell mess. I should have videoed this area today before I cleaned it up, but I didn't want it to look like a total slob area while I was recording you. Okay, so next up will be to mount this table that I got over there on the left by the garage door. So give me a little bit and I'm going to get things set up. I got to turn this table around. I got to find where I put the brackets. We'll get those put on the bottom, and we'll get this extension table in the back mounted up. We'll see what kind of problems I'm going to have. Hopefully none. I know I got to cut the top off that one thing now. I hadn't used that, and that was the first time I had fired up this table. I just got that done today, and I threw some paint on it, so that's actually working really good. I'm pretty happy with that, creating a lot less mess. So next up will be the backside table, so stay tuned. Be back here shortly. Alright guys, let's get this shelf installed. And by the way, today's segment is not sponsored by Great Lakes Brewing Company, Cleveland. I think they're in Cleveland, Ohio. This is the Edmund Fitzgerald Porter. It's a dark beer, 6% alcohol, smooth, little malty, nice flavor. This is my go-to beer. Here in Indiana, Southeast Indiana, it's about $9.50 for a 6-pack. So, anyway, like I said, not sponsored. They should sponsor me, as much of it as I buy. Okay, here is the shelf. I have the brackets in place. I do not have them screwed in yet. But I want to point out that these little things here, they're little measuring device. You can get a pack of 3 of them. There's a small one, a medium one, and then a large one. I think the large one goes up to like about a foot. These things are super freaking handy for all kinds of measuring stuff. So, like in the case of this, all right, I kind of measured. I don't think it really matters on the end here, but on the other ones, you know, I put them, they're about 1/8 of an inch. So you just kind of stick it up to there and butt this up to it. All right, and then if you want to make sure you're level going down the sides, you know, I just set this to like 1/4 of an inch, and you can go all the way down and then tap it into position. And I mean, it's really nice for all kinds of woodworking stuff. I don't care what it is you're doing. All right, now I've got some 8 by 1 1/4 inch exterior wood screws. There again, these are fast tight. They're not a sponsor either. Nobody's a sponsor. I have no sponsors whatsoever. And I really would like to be playing some music right now. There's a Black Magic Mojo group I was just jamming on. They're actually pretty good. They were doing a rendition of Aerosmith's Dream On. And I need a marker. Yeah, pretty good group, pretty good song. They do a real good rendition of Aerosmith. And okay, remember when I was telling you earlier, this screw here is kind of a pain to get to. And then there's one on this side right here. It's also kind of a pain to get to. I'm just marking my spots here. And this bottom one here, where I'm standing right here, you can actually adjust that. It will slide a little bit. So I've already got this one lined up, so I'm just going to stick my marker down in here, mark my center of my hole. Don't need to, but in case it gets off, like I did, just whack it. All right. And I do like to pre-drill my holes. That way I get nothing that splits. So now that we've got these marked, I think I'm hitting a screw there. Yep, I'm hitting a screw from the end. That's gonna pose a little bit of a dilemma. Well, maybe not. How far down did I get? I can just use a 3/4 inch, a number 8 by 3/4, and that should work there. And this one is the same on this end. It's hitting. So, like I said, no big deal. These are, the ones on the ends here are a real pain to try to get screwed in because, as you can see, you have this bracket here. You know, and I was just at Harbor Freight. I guess I should have got some really cheap, long drill bits, and I did not. So let me see if I might have a long Phillips. I've got a long everything, but I got a lot of flatheads. We'll see if this will reach down in there. Yeah, it will. And then I'll cheat and show you my trick. The thing actually comes in handy for a lot of stuff. Anything heavy that you need to lift up. Oh, that's right. Duh. 3/4 inch screw down here. I mean, I suppose if you're that particular about it, you could, I can move it, but I'm really not that worried about it. There are 2 other screws in it. And I did plan on, or I was thinking about making a pole that'll flip down and is adjustable in height. But the 3/4 one worked just fine. And then for these, you can use your drill for most of the way. I don't know if it's going to get in that bracket down here. Yeah. That's okay. We can put it the rest of the way in with a Phillips. That's it. Trust me, the screws that it comes with are crap. And just don't even use them. Just throw them away because they strip super easy. And you're going to do nothing but frustrate yourself and then not be able to get them out. Because I used them initially and almost stripped one. And I had to use my pair of nit picks to grab a hold of the end of it and turn it out. Which I want to, speaking of the nit picks, okay. If you guys are putting stuff together and you're using brad nails, and say your brad nail gets, shoots through the other side of the board, and you need to pull it out, the perfect way to do it is with these nit picks. Because you see how the head is rounded? What you do is you get your head on the screw, like so, and then you can roll it back, and it pulls it right out. Another great use for these tools. Can't thank my son enough for those. Alright, so anyway, back to, we got 2 other screws here, and then we'll be ready to flip this over, put it on our kitty litter hydraulic stand, and hopefully get it mounted up with no issues. And if I got to loosen them, I will. I don't plan on having to loosen them. Alright, so we'll move this stuff over here to the table. I don't even know if I'm going to use you need to use the Harbor Freight one. Alright, let me get you over here. You can see the top of the kitty litter box there. Alright, so we've got it set on here. I'm going to need to move you guys out of the way. Okay, so you can see the stand here. Alright, I'm lined up in the back. It does overhang just a tad. So now we're just going to jack it up. Get it out of the way of anything. And we should be able to come right up under this little shield that I made. Just want to get it lined up on both sides. And actually that'll work perfect because I do have that piece of wood in there that I use to catch my shield. And it looks like it's hitting something. Okay, because that bracket is not sliding forward enough. And this one is like seriously off. Okay, so I'm gonna have to reposition this. All right, so let's. What do I do with that Phillips or the drill? We're gonna go ahead and take this front one and this middle one, and we're just gonna loosen the back one. I couldn't remember what order I did this in when I did it. And of course I can't even see up under here to see where that screw is. Time to get on the ground. I hope this goes forward enough. We're just going to set that right there. And we'll take this middle one out. Yeah, that's still not quite enough. So I'm going to have to take this out completely. And do it all upside down. Well, not really. I can get this lined up to the side of the case here, the side of the stand. And I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'll grab me a clamp, which I have right here. And we'll clamp it in place. That way I'm not trying to hold it while I'm trying to screw it in. Hopefully this is long enough. I think you can see what I'm doing. Can you see that clamp over there? Yeah, kind of, sort of, you know. And I will grab another one, and we're going to have to take the other side off. And reposition it. Yeah, that one is not going to slide forward enough either. Oh, sorry. Sorry, guys. See if I can sit up and get this one. Now, hopefully, my screw holes are far enough apart so when I go to put this in, it is not going to try to slide into those other holes. kind of get it loose in place. Make sure our cable is lined up with the ends, which that looks pretty good. Make sure those are straight. Straight enough. Because we can at least, guessing you can see where I was over there on the floor. Down here, can't see. Down here, where I'm pointing, we can get this bottom screw in on both sides. And then, while it's still clamped in place, we can leave it clamped to the top here and line it up so it's even. And put a screw in the very back of it. Ideally, I would take it off. And, well, after I get one hole in, but I'm not going to do that. Save some time. Where did I put the drill? There it is. And the other drill. Alright, so let's go ahead and make sure that we are pretty, well, it doesn't matter if it's level with the back. I did bring a level here somewhere. Yeah, we're pretty level. This side could probably come up a little bit, but what I can do is put a little more pressure on it so it sits right up underneath this board here. And that is pretty much dead on level. Alright, so, okay, let's go ahead and get some holes drilled in here and get this thing in. That way it doesn't go anywhere. And I'll do the same under here with these two. Yeah, them holes are pretty far apart. But I'll stick this end one in the center. Whoa. Alright, I don't think that's going to go nowhere. There is another hole up there. I'll go ahead and get that one in. Really, I brought my flashlight over here. It's kind of dark under here. There's my little screw. Where'd my big one go? Oh, crap. I need more. Need more screws. Put a couple down there. Take me a couple over here. And fetch my other screwdriver. So I need 1, 2, 3 on this side. And those other two, like I said, they're kind of a pain. I don't think I'm going to be able to even drill. We'll see here. We'll see, Ted. That's in. Okay, so got that in. What I can get is the Harbor Freight drill, and I've got these bits that I can put into it. So we need a 764 for a number 8 screw, and then we'll put that into our Harbor Freight one so we can drill our holes. Probably just have to end up putting them in by hand, because I know the drill will not fit in there. Nope, it won't even fit in that bottom one. No, it'll kind of fit in this one. I don't know how far my bit will get into there, but we'll get it in there. Not far at all. Okay. So. Okay, so we got that one in, sitting on the extension cord. We can go ahead and take that off. Okay, now this one here, I think what I ended up doing last time is I just put it in at an angle. Yeah, I think there might be a screw or something I'm hitting. Kind of feels like it. Need some new batteries for my Craftsman drills. I've dropped these things so many times I've broke the latches on them. Okay, well that one's in. As far as the top one, I can try to drill it at an angle too. Which should work. Because that top one, we're only using this little number 8 by 3/4. There we go. All right, that side is done. Move over to this other side and reposition you guys. I'll take out the tripod once I've got this done and show you where well, you kind of seen when I was had the table flipped upside down where I was working. That'll work. And I'll have to drill those 2 top ones at an angle in order to get them in. This one, I should be able to get right in. bottom one in yet. That's all right. Just making sure it looks fairly even. And it's off a little there, but kind of run your finger down it. See if it's the same distance on your fingernail. And that looks to be about the same. Hey man, worst case, take it off and reposition it. Okay, I need one more long one, which I'll end up having to screw the rest of the way in. With the Phillips. But if you pre-drill your holes, it's easy to get the Phillips in. They'll thread right down in. It's when you don't pre-drill them, that's when you struggle with them. Need to get some better bits. All right, that one's in. Now let's see if we can get this top one. Oh, I can't even see it down. I'm going to need another one of these small ones. Okay, got that one. And then the Phillips. This is exactly what I did with the other two. And it hasn't fallen down yet. Fell down, fall down. You know what I mean. Get all my stuff off the floor so I don't kick it around and lose it. Take our clamp off. Take our level off. Now, we're locked in position. We gotta lower this down, move our handy dandy little table out of the way, and then we can grab the sides, lower it down. There you go. Get a better shot there. Then when you want to use it, just take it, grab it till it locks into place. Now, look at all this room. Okay, so we've got, let me get you straight up here. So you can see that table right here where the drill's sitting. All right, and then you see this table that is folded down. Now it's folded up. Now look at all that space we got. Perfect. Now, what is going to sit on there is, well, actually it could be a couple of things. I mean, you could use it for sanding, a sanding station, you know, or whatever. You know, I could always take the top back off or just route and put some of these T-channels in here and use it that way. But what my plan is, let me get it. Don't go nowhere. Oh. There they to work with is heavy. Whoa. That is my plan for that sitting there. And you can see it's holding it just fine. And I will be doing an unboxing and a video on this thing. It is a spiral cutter head 6-inch Win jointer. So, you know, my plan is when I'm not using this thing to put it up underneath there. Well, we'll see about that. I don't know exactly how wide this thing is once I get it out of the box. You know, and I even thought about, you know, if I put T-track into here, then I could actually bolt this thing to it and leave it bolted to it, lower the table down, you know, and then just flip it up when I need it. That was kind of my thinking, but by doing that, I can't push this back up against the wall as far. So I don't know, guys. We'll see. We'll see, Ted. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, this table is, and I will put a link for these hinges. I mean, this is pretty sturdy. But now, what I was thinking about, and I've never seen one. I was actually kind of looking for something, and I think I'm just going to make something. I want to make a pole that, when this table is down, I can have the pole mounted up underneath and secured. And then when I need this table down, because it won't interfere with anything, because I've got, you know, 4 inches or so. So it can sit up under there, and then when I need it, I'll put it in the center. That way I can lower it down and make it adjustable, so I can lower it down to the ground and then lock it into position. That way it's an additional brace for when I'm using this kind of heavy joiner, which I really don't know how much this thing weighs. I mean, it's not light, and it does say heavy right there, and it is heavy. So that's kind of my thinking. I've got a thought inside my head about how I want to make a bracket for that. But anyway, that will wrap up the miter saw stand and the table saw stand, all in matching colors, I might add. And that's pretty much it. Up next will be the video on the jointer, because I want to get this thing unboxed. I've had it now for a couple of weeks, you know, and I got some things, a bunch of I have some pallet wood I want to make some stuff with, but I want to join it first. So yes, I know I could do it on the table saw, and you can join, you know, you can clean up your edges on a table saw just fine. But I'll kind of talk about that when I talk about the joiner. But anyway, that pretty much wraps this up. I mean, you see the functionality of this table. And then when I'm not needing it, you know, I can move all of this stuff. Now that I got it all on wheels, I can move it all over to the other side of the garage. So if I get my nephew's car in here, or my brother's car, which I got to work on his BMW, I got to work on my niece's Honda, put a serpentine belt on it, you know, then I can move all this stuff out of the way and still have at least one garage space. So that was my plan, my objective. Also to help with sawdust control. That thing there I showed earlier, it does work pretty good. So I still got to put a handle on the back. I'm going to get my grinder off so the door... Actually, no, I'm going to leave it like it is, because I don't mind it sticking. That way it sticks and it's not going to pop open. The Velcro's just there for good looks. But that thing works great, and it's a good height. And like I showed you, I can roll that up next to this table here. Sorry for the quick spin. And use that as an outfeed table, you know, when I'm ripping 8-foot boards, and no longer have to use my little roller doohickey. So that's a win-win. And hey, man, just, you know, you do what you do. And it was, like I said, it was cheap. One 4x8 board of MDF, which if you go get a sheet of that, 3/4 inch MDF, get somebody to help you. That stuff is god awful stupid heavy. And I about give myself like triple hernias getting that stuff off the shelf because I couldn't find anybody at Lowe's to help me. And 6 2x4s, you know, a bunch of screws, which you can just use drywall screws. And then those brackets. The T-channels are optional. You don't have to do that. But I'll put a link to those if you want to get those. The Rockler clamps, yeah, I'll have to look on Rockler and get a part number for those. But if you've got a Rockler near you, you can just go in the store and get them. And then the top T-track, well, the top T-track was on Amazon. The bottom T-tracks were on, the bottom ones where you see the Rocklers attached to. I got those from Rockler. But you can actually get them cheaper when they're not on sale on Rockler on Amazon. And then the stop, I got that at Rockler. I've got nothing additional or new for this. Just my table saw. And yeah, so that was cheap. I had a bunch of plywood, some scrap plywood laying around. Actually, I had enough plywood to do that and then put a top on this table here. So that worked out good. And I think I maybe used two 2x4s. Maybe. I didn't use a whole lot. I didn't use a whole lot of plywood either. And then the wheels down there, those are just Harbor Freight specials, which I did pick up 2 locking ones today. I'll put 2 more locking ones on the back. And that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. We've got this table installed. I've been meaning to get off my butt and get that done. And yeah, so it's done now. So I hope you got something out of this. If anybody has any questions about how I put this thing together, even though I didn't record doing it, I'll be more than happy to share the dimensions. I think I said the table was like 24 by 24. The bottom is 24 by 32. It's just a square box. You put a sheet of MDF on it. You put some paint on it. You put some stain or whatever you want on the top. And actually, if I had thought about it ahead and done it, I would have done it different. I would have put Formica onto the top of this thing. Because Formica is, you can't destroy the stuff. And it's cheap and it's super easy to put on. But I didn't, and I just put some crappy stain on it, which I won't say what that is because I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. So just paint it or put some semi-gloss or whatever on it just to get protect the MDF from getting wet. And that's it, guys. So hopefully you got something out of it. And I will be seeing you shortly with that. So have a good one, and thanks for watching.